Hello everyone, this is Christopher O'Hara, and I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on this wonderful program called Transcribe. Some of you are probably already wondering, what does it do? Well, basically it slows down the song you're working on and it keeps the pitch. And that's important because generally music is too fast when we try to learn it, so we need to slow it down in a much more manageable speed. That also allows us to pick out all the little details of that particular instrument that we're trying to copy. I also want to point out that this great program comes in both a Mac or PC, and I believe there's a 30-day trial on it, so you have no excuse not to try this thing out. The next thing I want to add is I've owned this program for about, I would say, 6 or 7 years, and I've never had to pay for an update. My original license key continues to work for all the updates. Another thing I want to point out is I like this program so much, I'm doing this whole tutorial for free. Now let me give you a little overview of what I'm going to talk about. The first thing I'm going to discuss is how to load files into Transcribe. Then I'm going to talk about keyboard shortcuts. There's a lot of shortcuts already programmed into Transcribe, and I'm going to show you how to use those, but I'm also going to show you how to program your own that are going to be useful. The next is navigation, and I'm going to show you how to zoom around, zoom in, zoom out, and some other things with the navigation. And I'm also going to show you how to use a couple of the playback keystrokes. Next is markers, and within markers, I'm going to show you how to use the section marker, the measure marker, and the beat marker. The next is the FX panel, and within that, I'm going to show you how to use the tuning feature, the mono karaoke feature, and also the loop feature. I'm going to finish off the tutorial with the piano roll and the spectrum and how the two work together. Where do you find this wonderful program? Well, you need to navigate to 7thstring.com, and if you go to their download page, you'll find all the information and instruction on how to get this thing up and running on your computer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is how to get files into Transcribe. Now, you can use the conventional Command-O method, which works great, but what I like to do, I like to use my iTunes. Generally, I have iTunes open, and all I have to do is navigate to a song that I want to learn, and then just drag and drop right into Transcribe. And if I want to have multiple files, I can do the same thing. So I will just drag and drop that file right into the window, and it'll open up a new window in Transcribe. All right, let's get into some of these keyboard shortcuts. There's already a lot of keyboard shortcuts programmed into Transcribe, and I'm going to show you how to use a lot of those, but I'm also going to show you how to program a few of your own that I think will be pretty useful later on. Let me get started. What I'd like to show you is the speed controls, and I like to set them up on my number keys, 1 through 6, 1 being normal speed or 100% speed. Anything below 100% is slowing the track down. So I like to program my number keys in 10% increments. So my 1 keystroke is 100, 2 keystroke is 90, and I work my way down all the way to half speed for the 6 keystroke. So let me show you how to program that into Transcribe. What you need to do is you need to go into File, scroll down to Keyboard Commands, and then click on Keystroke and enter the keystroke that you want to program or edit. In this case, it's going to be the 1 keystroke. And don't worry too much about what it says. Just follow my lead, and we're going to hit Create or Edit Normal Shortcut. Then I'm going to hit Select. And actually, you're going to see this thing pop up in this window here. You can even see this, what's programmed with this particular keystroke. Let's assume that it's something different. We want to set it. So just hit Select Command when pressed. And then you're going to make sure you're under Audio Effects, and then you're going to scroll down to 100% speed for this keyboard shortcut, and then click OK, and then OK again. Now that keystroke has been programmed, and you can go through and program all the rest. Like I mentioned before, I like to set mine up in 10% increments. So let me show you how this sounds. That's 100%. Here's 90. Here's 80. Here is 70. Here is 60. And finally 50. If I need to go any slower than that, then I usually will grab these menu keys up here, or I may grab this little slider down here, which is kind of nice to grab. But having these at your fingertips is very useful. Now there's another keystroke that I like to program and use, which is fitting the whole file in view. And this is pretty useful because you may be zoomed in somewhere like we are currently, and you want to take a look at the whole file. And I have my G keystroke programmed to do just that. So it's a little bit different than how you program the speed controls. And let me show you how you do it. It's pretty much the same process. So you go under File, select Keyboard Commands, and then keystroke. I like to use my G key. You can use whatever you like. Create or edit normal shortcut, then hit select. And then you need to go into View and find this little thing that says View Fit Whole File On. And then just click OK, and then OK again. Now I have that programmed. Now let's talk about navigation, and there's a few keyboard shortcuts that I use that are already programmed. The first thing I want to show you is actually how to zoom in, and what you need to do is just highlight a section by clicking and dragging, and then all you need to do next is just hold down your command and F key, and that zooms that entire selection into view. Now, let's say we want to just kind of zoom back just a little bit. So all you need to do is hold down your command and use your left or right arrow. So left arrow is zooming out, right arrow is zooming back in. There's another useful navigation tool that you can use, which is located in this view. It's not really a tool, but it's a way to kind of see the whole file right in your Transcribe window. And you can see this little bottom part here just expanded. And what's great about this is it's the whole file, and it's always going to be on your window. And let me give you an example of how this would work. Let me zoom in. So I'm currently zoomed in to this little area, and wherever I click on this line will move me to that portion of the song while maintaining that view level. So if I wanted to go to this guitar intro, I'm at the beginning. And that kind of saves a little bit of time from having to go zoom out and then zooming back into another section. So I definitely use this a lot. Now let me talk about playback. There's a couple useful keystrokes that I use all the time. The first one is the space bar, and the other one is the Z keystroke. They're very, very similar, except the Z keystroke will continue playing as long as I hold that button down. The spacebar is a little bit different. If I hit spacebar, it'll start playback, and then I have to hit spacebar again to stop playback. Now let me show you this. This is our playback marker, this red triangle at the top here. And if I start my playback, it's going to begin at that point. Let me show you. And you can see this vertical line. This is kind of indicating where I'm currently at, whether I'm playing back or if I'm paused. Now let me show you the Z keystroke. See how fast I can initiate playback? It's really a great keystroke to use if you're trying to learn a fast phrase and you want to grab the first couple of notes of that phrase and you want to hear it over and over again without having to loop it. Now the other thing I want to show you is the E keystroke. This is a really good keystroke to know because it'll move my playback marker or my red triangle where my vertical line is. So currently I'm paused, so if I hit it once, it'll move my playback marker to the vertical line. Now I can do this on the fly, so if I hit my space bar, so you can see me moving it throughout the track. It's a very useful keystroke. Now I'd like to talk about markers. We have 3 different types of markers. We have our section marker, our measure marker, and our beat marker. And you can tell the difference between these by the fact that they're color coded. If you look up here, we have our chorus is our section marker, and that's highlighted in blue. And our measure markers are these little green guys right here. And our beat markers are these black little tick marks between these measure markers. Now I can navigate, if I have them set up like this, I can navigate through them very quickly. And I can, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my playback marker, my red guy here, and move to the different sections. Now, how you do that is just by holding Command and your right or left bracket key to move forward or backwards. So I'm going to move over to the chorus. Then I'm on that measure marker there, the C3, C4, C5. And notice that I was skipping over the beat markers. This keyboard shortcut does not advance in the beat markers. It only does the section and measure markers. Now let me show you how to create these markers. Here's what you need to remember. The S keystroke for section, the M keystroke for measure, and the B keystroke for beat. And you can drop these markers in either during playback or at a paused position like we currently are. So let me try one of these out. I'm going to hit the S keystroke for section marker, and I get this dialog box, and it gives me two choices to either put a marker at the pause playback point or at the current point. Basically what that means is at pause playback point, it's going to drop a marker on my vertical line. At the current point, it's going to put a marker right here in my red triangle. So I'm going to select this one. And you can see it dropped a section marker right there, and it auto-generated a label for that. Now, I like to change my section marker. So what I'm going to do is double click on that. It's going to open up the window. And now I'm going to type in solo. And this is also how you would delete a marker. You can see my little delete option at the bottom. And you can also change it. So if you accidentally hit the wrong marker, you can go ahead and select one of these that you need. Hit OK. Now I have my solo in there. Let's listen to see where we're at. Now, as you can tell, that marker is not exactly in the right place. So what I can do is just click and drag that marker where I want it. Now let's move my playback marker by hitting Command right bracket. Now I'm right on my marker. So now I have a marker exactly where I want it. Now let me show you how to enter a measure marker on the fly. So I'm going to initiate playback with my space bar, use the M keystroke to drop my measure marker in. Let's check it out. Pretty cool, huh? And I can go back in and change the labeling of my measure markers just by double clicking and doing the same process that I did on my section markers. But I generally like to leave my measure markers alone and let it auto generate what it wants. Now let me show you how to enter the beat markers. It's basically the same way I entered my measure markers. I'm going to do it during playback, and I'm going to hit my B keystroke, and I'm going to outline quarter notes. Here we go. And I can go back in and move them just like I did with the section marker. Just click and drag them. So now I got a good visual representation of the beats, and that'll help me in notating this stuff.